You've been chosen for the Ashford event. The words from Rita, her supervisor at Sparkle and Shine Cleaning, echoed through Daisy McKenna's phone like fireworks. It was 5 o'clock on an ordinary Thursday afternoon, and she was on her knees scrubbing the marble floor of a corporate office in Manhattan when her entire life tilted dangerously toward the unknown. 2 days earlier, Daisy stared at her distorted reflection in the soapy water bucket. Did she really want this? The Ashford event wasn't just another job. It was the job. The one every cleaner in the company dreamed of landing. Triple pay, generous tips, the possibility of being permanently hired by some wealthy family. But it was also the most demanding event of the year. The engagement party of Maximus Ashford III and Vivian Blackwell, two names that appeared in business magazines and social columns as frequently as normal people checked the weather. "You sure you mean me?" Daisy had asked Rita, her voice mixing disbelief and hope. "It's me, Rita, the one who spilled champagne on the client at the plaza last week." "That was an accident, honey, and you cleaned it up in 3 minutes." Rita laughed. "Look, they want someone authentic, discreet, but not invisible, and you have that thing." "What thing?" "Personality. You don't bow your head to anyone, Daisy. I like that." Now, 2 days later, as the taxi dropped her off in front of the Ashford mansion in Long Island, Daisy McKenna questioned every decision that had brought her here. Present, Friday, 7 p.m. The property stretched out like a small country. Impeccable lawns, marble fountains, a circular driveway where cars that cost more than her entire life were parked by white-gloved valets. Daisy adjusted her black uniform, simple, but she'd sewn a secret pocket where she kept her lucky charm, a quarter her father had given her before he died, saying, "There's always another side, Daisy girl." She needed that reminder now. "Cleaning crew side entrance." An event coordinator pointed brusquely, not even looking at her. Daisy took a deep breath. Of course, people like her didn't enter through the front door. The kitchen was organized chaos. French chefs shouting orders, waiters rehearsing choreographed moves with trays, florists making last-minute adjustments to arrangements that probably cost her monthly salary. She found Rita near the cold storage. "You're responsible for the main hall, second floor, and the master suite if needed." Rita handed her a detailed map of the mansion. "And Daisy? Be invisible, but be present. These people don't like being reminded they need help." "Gotcha." Efficient ghost. But being a ghost wasn't in Daisy McKenna's DNA. Never had been. At 8 p.m., the first guests began arriving. She watched from the second floor, through the mahogany balustrades, as New York high society paraded in dresses that cost more than cars and jewelry that could feed entire neighborhoods. They laughed too loud, air-kissed beside each other's faces, and held champagne flutes as if they were extensions of their hands. And then he walked in. Maximus Ashford III didn't walk. He commanded space. Tall, perfectly styled dark hair, a suit that was probably sewn by Italian virgins under a full moon. But what captured Daisy wasn't his magazine cover appearance. It was the look in his eyes. For a fraction of a second, while greeting guests with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, Max Ashford looked bored, trapped. "My love." A crystalline voice cut through the murmur. Vivian Blackwell glided down the stairs as if she were in a French perfume commercial. Platinum blonde, body sculpted by personal trainers and surgeons, she wore a red dress that must have had its own insurance policy. "You're late to your own party." "Last-minute meeting." Max kissed her cheek politely. "You look beautiful, Viv." "Beautiful?" She arched a perfectly drawn eyebrow. "I spent 6 hours getting ready, darling. I expected something more than beautiful." Daisy rolled her eyes from her privileged position. "Ah, yes. True love. That's when it happened." A nervous waiter stumbled climbing the stairs, the champagne tray flying in slow motion directly toward a group of diamond-covered matrons. Without thinking, Daisy dove forward, catching 3 glasses in mid-air while the others shattered on the marble floor. The silence was deafening. All heads turned, including Max Ashford's. And when their eyes met, hers emerald green and defiant, his storm blue and suddenly alive, something changed in the air, something dangerous, something inevitable. "Sorry," Daisy smiled at the shocked guests. "Juggling show wasn't on the program." Some people laughed nervously. Vivian Blackwell did not. "Who?" she said in a voice that could freeze hell. "Is that?" Max was still staring at Daisy, and for the first time that evening, he was genuinely smiling. "Good question," he murmured. "Who are you?" Daisy set the glasses on a nearby table, wiping her hands on her uniform. "Nobody important, Mr. Ashford. Just someone who prevents disasters." "Funny." Max descended a few steps toward her, completely ignoring the 200 guests below. "I'm starting to think you might be the most important thing about tonight." And that's how Daisy McKenna, a cleaner from Queens who was paying for nursing school by working double shifts, accidentally stole the groom's attention at his own engagement party. What she didn't know was that this would be the least of her problems. The moment stretched like taffy. Max Ashford stood 3 steps above Daisy, his blue eyes locked on hers with an intensity that made her skin prickle. Around them, 200 of New York's elite held their collective breath, waiting to see how this bizarre interruption would unfold. Vivian's heels clicked sharply against marble as she ascended the stairs, her red dress swirling like a matador's cape. "Maximus, the guests are waiting for our toast." But Max didn't move. "What's your name?" "Daisy, sir." She resisted the urge to curtsy sarcastically. "Daisy McKenna, I'm with the cleaning crew." "Daisy." He said it slowly, as if testing how it felt. Like the flower. Like the cheap flower that grows in cracks in the sidewalk. "Yes, sir." A laugh burst from him, genuine, surprised, nothing like the polished chuckles he'd been distributing all evening. Several guests gasped. Apparently, Maximus Ashford III didn't laugh at the help. "Max." Vivian's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. "Now." He finally broke eye contact, but not before Daisy saw something flicker across his face. Regret? Curiosity? Whatever it was disappeared behind his society mask as he offered his arm to Vivian. "Of course, darling. Duty calls." Daisy watched them descend, Vivian's fingers digging into Max's forearm like talons. She caught Rita's frantic gestures from across the room. "Disappear now," and quickly began cleaning up the shattered glass. "That was either very brave or very stupid," a voice said beside her. Daisy looked up to find an older woman in an emerald gown, diamonds dripping from her neck like a chandelier. Her eyes, though, sparkled with amusement rather than judgment. "Probably stupid, ma'am." Eleanor Ashford, Max's grandmother. The woman knelt down, actually knelt in a gown that cost more than a car, and helped pick up glass shards. And that was the first interesting thing to happen at one of these dreadful parties in years. "Mrs. Ashford, please, I can—" "Call me Eleanor. Mrs. Ashford makes me feel ancient." She deposited glass into Daisy's dustpan. "Tell me, Daisy McKenna, do you always catch falling champagne, or was that a one-time performance?" "Depends on who's dropping it." Eleanor laughed, a sound like wind chimes. "I like you. You have spine. Vivian will hate that." "I noticed." "Good. A woman who knows when she's made an enemy is a woman who survives." Eleanor stood, brushing off her gown. "Word of advice? Stay away from my grandson tonight. Vivian Blackwell is many things, but forgiving isn't one of them." But staying away from Max Ashford proved impossible. An hour later, Daisy was restocking towels in the second-floor powder room when she heard raised voices from the hallway. "Completely embarrassed me." Vivian's voice could cut glass. "I laughed at a joke, Viv. That's hardly a scandal." Max sounded tired. "She's the help, Maximus. You don't acknowledge the help. You certainly don't flirt with them in front of the Vanderbilts and the Rothschilds." "I wasn't flirting." "Oh, please. I saw how you looked at her. Like she was interesting." A pause. Then quietly, "She was interesting." Daisy froze, a stack of hand towels clutched against her chest. "I'm interesting." Vivian's voice pitched higher. "I'm a Blackwell. I went to Vassar. I chair 3 charity boards. You are all of those things. But I don't make you laugh." The silence that followed was deafening. "Viv, forget it. Just forget it. Go be charming to our guests. Try to remember you're marrying me in 6 weeks." Heels clicked away rapidly. Daisy held her breath, waiting for Max to follow. Instead, she heard him sigh, long and heavy. Then his voice, barely above a whisper. 6 weeks. What the hell am I doing? She should have stayed quiet, should have let him leave without knowing she'd overheard. But Daisy McKenna's mouth had always been faster than her common sense. Having second thoughts about the perfect wedding, Max spun around. She stepped out of the powder room, towels still in her arms. "How long were you?" "Long enough to know you should probably talk to your fiancé instead of the help." She walked past him toward the linen closet. He followed. "That was a private conversation." "Then don't have it in public hallways." Daisy shoved towels onto shelves with more force than necessary. "Look, Mr. Ashford." "Max." "Mr. Ashford, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but I need this job. I have tuition, rent, and a mountain of bills that don't care about your existential crisis." "It's not a game." "Then what is it?" She turned to face him. "Because from where I'm standing, you're a rich guy who's bored with his perfect life and saw something shiny and different. Tomorrow, you'll marry your perfect blonde and forget the cleaning girl who caught your champagne." Max stepped closer. Too close. She could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy that probably cost more per ounce than her monthly salary. "You think you have me figured out?" "Don't I?" "Not even close." His eyes searched hers. "What if I told you that moment on the stairs was the first time in 3 years I felt anything real?" Daisy's heart hammered against her ribs. "I'd say you need therapy, not a cleaner." He laughed again, that same surprised, genuine sound. "You're probably right." "I know I'm right. Now, if you'll excuse me, have dinner with me." The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. "Are you insane?" Daisy whispered. "You're engaged. Your party is happening downstairs right now." "Coffee then, tomorrow. Just talk to me. Like a human, not like I'm Maximus Ashford III merger and acquisition machine." "This is a terrible idea." "Probably. I could lose my job." "I'll make sure you don't. Your fiancé will destroy me." "She won't know." Daisy stared at him, this man who had everything and somehow looked like he had nothing at all. Every logical cell in her brain screamed to say no, to walk away, to remember her place. But Daisy McKenna had never been good at staying in her place. "One coffee. Tomorrow at 10. The Daily Grind on 5th Avenue. She pointed at him. "And if you bring bodyguards or paparazzi or any of that billionaire circus, I'm out." Max's smile could have powered the entire mansion. "Deal. Now go propose a toast to your beautiful fiancé and pretend tonight never happened." He started to leave, then turned back. "Daisy?" "What?" "Thank you. For catching the champagne. For calling me on my bullshit. For being real." Before she could respond, he was gone. Daisy slumped against the wall, her heart racing. What had she just agreed to? She pulled out her father's quarter, rubbing it like a talisman. "There's always another side, Daisy girl." "Yeah, Dad. But what if the other side is a cliff?" From downstairs, she heard glasses clinking, and Max's voice raised in a toast. "To Vivian, my beautiful bride-to-be. May our future be as bright as her smile." The crowd cheered. Daisy closed her eyes. She'd just agreed to have coffee with an engaged billionaire who looked at her like she was oxygen. What could possibly go wrong? Daisy arrived at the Daily Grind 15 minutes early, a habit born from years of catching buses that didn't wait. She ordered a regular coffee, no fancy lattes for her budget, and claimed a corner booth where she could watch the door. At 9:58, she started planning her escape route. At 9:59, she decided this was the dumbest thing she'd ever done. At 10 scraws exactly, Max Ashford walked in wearing jeans and a plain gray t-shirt, and Daisy nearly choked on her coffee. "You're staring," he said, sliding into the booth across from her. "You're wearing normal clothes. I thought billionaires had to wear suits even in the shower." "Only on Tuesdays," he signaled the waitress. "2 cappuccinos, please." "I already have coffee." "That's not coffee. That's brown sadness in a cup." He smiled. "Trust me." The waitress, a college student who clearly recognized Max, turned bright red. "Oh my God, are you—" "Just a guy getting coffee," Max said smoothly, handing her a $100 bill. "Keep the change, and maybe forget you saw me?" The girl nodded frantically and scurried away. "Subtle," Daisy muttered. "I tried." He leaned back, studying her. "You came." "Against every survival instinct I have." "Good. Instincts are overrated." The cappuccinos arrived in record time. Max pushed one toward her. "So, Daisy McKenna, tell me your story." "My story? Everyone has one." "The path that led them to catching champagne at strangers' engagement parties." Daisy wrapped her hands around the warm cup. The foam art was a perfect heart. Of course it was. "You want the highlight reel or the director's cut?" "I want the truth." Something in his voice made her believe him. Against her better judgment, she started talking. "Born in Queens. Dad was a firefighter. Died when I was 16. Mom remarried a guy who thought his stepdaughter was optional. So I got optional." She took a sip. The cappuccino was annoyingly delicious. "Been working since I was 14. Currently paying my way through nursing school while cleaning offices and mansions for people who don't see me." "I see you. That's the problem." Max's jaw tightened. "Why nursing?" "Because my dad died in my arms, and I couldn't do anything except hold him and wait." The words came out harder than she intended. "Next person who needs help? I want to be able to actually help." Silence settled between them, but it wasn't uncomfortable. Max reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. "That's the most honest thing anyone said to me in years." "Your turn. What's your story, Mr. Triple I?" He laughed. "I hate that nickname." "Then why use it?" "Because it's what's expected. Maximus Ashford I made a fortune in railroads. Maximus II in real estate. I'm supposed to be tech and international mergers." He stared into his cup. "At 6 years old, I knew what schools I'd attend, what companies I'd run, who I'd marry. Vivienne was arranged? Not officially, but our families have been planning this since we wore diapers. She's perfect, beautiful, connected, knows how to navigate society. We make sense on paper." "And off paper?" Max met her eyes. "Off paper, I don't know who I am anymore. I wake up in my penthouse, go to my corner office, attend my charity galas, and feel like I'm watching someone else's life." "Poor little rich boy," Daisy said, but her tone was gentle. "I know how it sounds. I have everything, except what you want." "I don't even know what I want." He paused. "Until last night, anyway." Daisy's heart skipped. "Max, I know. Bad timing. Terrible idea. I'm engaged." He ran his hand through his hair, destroying its perfect styling. "But then you appeared on those stairs, catching chaos in midair, looking at me like I was just some guy instead of a dynasty with a pulse, and something woke up inside me. That's called lust. It'll pass." "Is that what you felt? Lust?" She wanted to lie. Should have lied. Instead, no. His eyes darkened. Then what? Recognition. The word escaped before she could stop it. "Like I knew you," which is insane because we're from different planets. Yet here we are. "Here we are," she echoed. Max leaned forward. "Have dinner with me. Real dinner. Tomorrow night. Are you trying to destroy both our lives?" "I'm trying to feel alive." His hand covered hers fully now. "One dinner. If we have nothing to talk about, We'll laugh about it later and go our separate ways. And if we do have something, then we figure it out. Daisy pulled her hand back, though it took more willpower than she wanted to admit. You're getting married in 6 weeks to a woman who looks like a Victoria's Secret model crossed with a Fortune 500 CEO. I'm a cleaner who smells like Lysol. There's nothing to figure out. You're also smart, brave, funny, and the first person in years who talks to me like I'm human. Stop. Why? Because, her phone buzzed. Rita's name flashed on screen. Daisy answered. Hey, Rita. Daisy, we have a problem. Rita's voice was tight. Vivian Blackwell called the company. She wants you fired. Her stomach dropped. What? Says you were inappropriate at the party. Made a scene. She's one of our biggest clients, honey. Mr. Henderson is considering it. Max watched her face change. What's wrong? Daisy stood, grabbing her bag. I have to go. Daisy, your fiancé is trying to get me fired. She threw cash on the table for her original coffee. So much for her not knowing, right? I'll fix this. Don't. Just... She looked at him, this beautiful, broken billionaire who'd somehow crash-landed into her life. Forget about me, Max. Marry your perfect blonde. Live your perfect life. What if I don't want perfect? Then you're an idiot. She headed for the door. Daisy, wait. She turned back. He'd stood up, and half the cafe was now staring at them. One dinner, he said quietly. Let me fix this mess first, then one dinner. If you still want to walk away after that, I'll let you go. Every logical thought screamed at her to run. This man was engaged. He was a billionaire. He was trouble-wrapped in designer denim. But those eyes, storm blue and desperate, held her in place. Fix it first, she said. Then we'll see. She walked out before she could change her mind, before she could throw her arms around him, before she could do something really stupid, like fall for a man she could never have. Behind her, she heard the cafe erupt in whispers and phone cameras clicking. By tonight, half of New York would know Maximus Ashford III was having coffee with the help. Vivienne would see the photos, and Daisy's simple life was about to become very, very complicated. She pulled out her father's quarter, flipping it in her hand as she walked. Heads or tails, Daisy girl? The quarter spun in the air, catching sunlight. She caught it without looking. It didn't matter which side landed up. She was already falling. The photos hit social media in under 2 hours. Daisy was scrubbing a bathtub in a Park Avenue apartment when her phone exploded with notifications. Text after text from numbers she didn't recognize. Her Instagram, which had exactly 47 followers, mostly fellow nursing students, suddenly had thousands. She clicked on the first link with trembling fingers. Billionaire bachelor's secret coffee date? Who is mystery woman? There she was, frozen mid-sentence across from Max Ashford, looking terrifyingly ordinary in her thrift store jacket next to his casual perfection. Another shot showed him reaching for her hand. A third captured her walking away while he stood, looking like a man watching his life raft float away. The comments were a war zone. She's pretty in a girl-next-door way, I guess. Vivian Blackwell is going to murder her. Gold digger alert. Wait, is this the cleaning girl from the party? I was there. Oh, God, Daisy whispered. Her phone rang. Rita. Please tell me you didn't sleep with Maximus Ashford, Rita said without preamble. What? No, we had coffee. Coffee that's currently breaking the internet. Daisy, honey, Mr. Henderson is losing his mind. Vivian Blackwell has called 6 times. She's threatening to pull all her contracts unless you're fired and blacklisted from every cleaning company in New York. Daisy sat down hard on the bathroom floor. Rita, I just had coffee. That's it. With her fiancé, the day after her engagement party, where you apparently made quite an impression. Rita sighed. I believe you, sweetheart. But this is above my pay grade now. Henderson wants to see you. Today, 3 o'clock. After Rita hung up, Daisy stared at her reflection in the pristine bathtub. 24 hours ago, she was nobody, invisible, safe. Now she was the other woman in a scandal she didn't even understand. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "This is Max. Don't talk to any reporters. I'm handling this. Please trust me." Trust him? She didn't even know him. But God help her, she wanted to. Meanwhile, across town, Max stood in his office, watching his PR team scramble like ants in a kicked hill. His phone had been ringing nonstop. His mother, his board members, business partners. Everyone had seen the photos. Everyone had opinions. "We spin it as charity work," his publicist Sharon suggested. "You were interviewing her about starting a foundation for working-class students." "No." Max's voice was steel. "No lies." "Then what's the truth?" Sharon challenged. "Because engaged billionaire has coffee with cleaning girl isn't a great headline. The truth is, I had coffee with someone interesting. That's it. That's never it with people like Vivian Blackwell." Sharon pulled up her tablet. "She's already released a statement calling it a misunderstanding. Says you're under stress from merger negotiations and this girl took advantage. Her name is Daisy." Max grabbed the tablet. "And she took advantage of nothing." "Then you need to control this narrative before—" The office door slammed open. Vivian stormed in wearing head-to-toe Chanel and an expression that could curdle milk. "Out," she told Sharon. "Ms. Blackwell, we're in the middle of—" "Out!" Sharon fled. Smart woman. Vivian closed the door with deliberate calm, then turned on Max like a cobra. "Explain." "I had coffee with someone. With the help. The day after our engagement party. While wearing jeans." She said jeans like it was a profanity. "Do you have any idea how this makes me look? This isn't about you, Viv. Everything is about me. I'm your fiancé." She threw her phone at him. He caught it, seeing her screen filled with mocking headlines and cruel memes. "I'm a laughingstock. My mother had to take a sedative. The Vanderbilts are gossiping. This is unacceptable. So, cancel the wedding." The words hung in the air like a bomb. Vivian's perfectly made-up face went pale, then red. "What did you just say?" Max set down her phone carefully. "You heard me. We both know this marriage is a business arrangement. Our families want it. Our boards want it. But what do we want, Viv? I want what we agreed on. Partnership. Power. The perfect life. Without love. Love is for people who can't afford better." She stepped closer, her voice dropping. "Max, we're good together. We understand each other. This cleaning girl is a momentary distraction. Her name is Daisy. I don't care if her name is Cleopatra. She's nobody. She has nothing. And you're throwing away everything for what? A pretty face attached to a mop? She's real." The words came out quiet, but firm. "When I'm with her, I'm real. Not Maximus Ashford III, Dynasty heir. Just Max." Vivian laughed, sharp and bitter. "Just Max doesn't exist. That's the point. We're not real people, darling. We're legacies, portfolios, dynasties. The sooner you accept that—" "I don't accept it." "Then you're a fool." She picked up her purse. "I'm giving you 24 hours to fix this. Issue a statement saying it was innocent. Fire that girl from whatever company employs her and propose a new wedding date to show we're strong." "And if I don't? Then I'll destroy her." Vivian's smile was all teeth. "I'll make sure she never works in this city again. I'll dig up every secret, every mistake, every parking ticket. I'll turn her into a cautionary tale so complete that people will cross the street when they see her coming." Max's hands clenched. "You wouldn't. Watch me. I'm a Blackwell, Max. We don't lose." She walked to the door, paused. "Choose. Your dynasty or your distraction. But choose fast, because my patience has limits." She left in a cloud of expensive perfume and barely contained rage. Max slumped into his chair, running his hands through his hair. His phone buzzed with another message from his mother, another from his board, another from a business partner concerned about optics. Then one from Daisy. "Got fired. It's fine. Not your fault. Forget the dinner. This is too complicated." He stared at those words, at her easy willingness to disappear from his life to make things simpler. That's when he knew. He grabbed his keys. Daisy's apartment. 6 p.m. The knock came just as Daisy finished her second glass of wine. Cheap wine, the kind that came in boxes, but tonight she needed it. She opened the door expecting her roommate, Sophie. Max Ashford stood in her hallway, still in his suit, looking completely out of place against the peeling wallpaper and flickering fluorescent lights. "How did you find my address?" "I have resources." He stepped inside without invitation. "You can't quit on me." "I didn't quit. I got fired." "There's a difference. I'll get you rehired. Better, I'll hire you myself." "As what? Your kept woman?" Daisy crossed her arms. "That'll really help the headlines." "I don't care about headlines." "Well, I do. Max, you live in a different world. You can survive scandal. I can't. I need to work. I need to finish school. I need—" Her voice cracked. "I need you to leave before I do something stupid like ask you to stay." Max closed the distance between them in 2 steps. "What if I want to stay?" "You can't." "Why not?" "Because—" She gestured helplessly. "Because you're you, and I'm me, and this is insane. So let's be insane together." His hands framed her face. "Daisy, I'm 31 years old, and I've never felt about anyone the way I feel about you after 2 conversations. That has to mean something. It means we're idiots. Then let's be idiots together too." He kissed her, and Daisy McKenna, who prided herself on making smart choices, kissed him back. The world could burn tomorrow. Tonight, she was choosing the fire. They broke apart, breathless, foreheads touching, the tiny apartment suddenly feeling even smaller. "That was—" Max started. "A mistake," Daisy finished, stepping back. But her lips were still tingling, her heart racing like a hummingbird's wings. "The best mistake I've ever made." "Max." She pressed her hands against his chest, feeling his heartbeat as wild as hers. "You're engaged. This can't happen." "Then I'll unengage myself." "Just like that? You'll blow up your entire life." My entire life was already blown up. I just didn't notice until a cleaning girl caught champagne and woke me up. He captured her hands, holding them against his heart. "Daisy, I know this is fast. I know it's crazy. But I also know I can't marry Vivienne feeling like this about you." "Feeling like what?" "Like I can finally breathe." His thumb traced circles on her wrist. "Like maybe I'm not just a chess piece in someone else's game." Daisy wanted to surrender to it. To him. But reality was a cruel companion. "What happens when you wake up tomorrow and realize you threw away your perfect life for a girl from Queens who can't tell Monet from Manet?" "Then I'll spend every morning teaching you about art, while you teach me what it means to actually live." He smiled. "Fair trade? You're insane. Completely." He kissed her forehead. "Will you go insane with me?" Before she could answer, her phone exploded with notifications. So did Max's. They looked at their screens simultaneously and watched their world implode. Ashford Ear spotted entering cleaning girl's apartment. Someone had photographed Max in her hallway. In the photo's comment section, her address was already posted. Her full name, her nursing school, everything. "Oh God," Daisy whispered. Max was already calling someone. "Sharon, damage control, now." "I don't care what it costs." "No, I'm not leaving her apartment." "Because she's not safe, that's why." He hung up, pulled Daisy close. "Pack a bag. You're coming with me." "Where?" "Somewhere they can't find you while I fix this." "Max, I can't just—" A brick crashed through her window. Glass exploded across the floor. Attached to the brick was a note in elegant handwriting. "Home wrecker." Max shielded her with his body, scanning the street below. "That's it. We're leaving, now." 2 hours later, Ashford Estate, Long Island. Eleanor Ashford stood in her parlor, arms crossed, studying her grandson and the terrified young woman beside him, like they were abstract art she couldn't quite figure out. You brought her here, Eleanor said finally. Someone threw a brick through her window, Gran. Yes, well, scorned socialites do tend toward the dramatic. She turned to Daisy. Dear, would you give us a moment? Mrs. Ashford. Eleanor, and that wasn't a request. But her eyes were kind. Max squeezed Daisy's hand before she left for the kitchen. Once alone, Eleanor poured 2 whiskeys, handed one to Max. You're calling off the wedding. How did you? Because you're my grandson, and I know that look. Your grandfather had it when he met me. Terrified and exhilarated like standing at the edge of a cliff. She sipped her drink. The question is, are you jumping because you want to fly, or because you want to crash? I don't know. Max collapsed into a chair. All I know is that I've been sleepwalking through my life, and Daisy woke me up. In 48 hours. Takes less time than that to die, Gran. Why not to start living? Eleanor studied him. Vivian won't go quietly. I know. The board will revolt. Your mother will have a stroke. Half of New York society will ostracize you. I know that too. And this girl, Eleanor gestured toward the kitchen. She's not prepared for our world. The scrutiny, the cruelty. Society will tear her apart simply for existing in proximity to you. Then I'll protect her. Can you? Really? Eleanor sat beside him. Max, I adore your romantic impulses. But love doesn't conquer all. Sometimes it just makes the battlefield more complicated. So what do? You ask yourself if she's worth losing everything for. And you be honest, because if you're not sure, if there's even a shred of doubt, you let her go now before you destroy her along with yourself. Max was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'm sure. Eleanor smiled. Then welcome to the cliff, darling. Try to stick the landing. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Daisy found the staff entrance and stepped outside, needing air. The gardens were beautiful even in darkness, lit by subtle landscape lighting. She pulled out her father's quarter, flipping it compulsively. Nervous habit? She spun. A woman emerged from the shadows, tall, elegant, with Max's eyes and a predator's smile. Catherine Ashford, Max's mother. The woman looked Daisy up and down like she was inventorying livestock. You're younger than I expected, prettier too. That makes this more complicated. Mrs. Ashford, how much? Excuse me? How much money will it take for you to disappear from my son's life? Catherine pulled out a checkbook. Be reasonable. You seem like a practical girl. Daisy's hands clenched. I'm not for sale. Everyone's for sale. It's just a matter of price. Catherine's pen hovered. 50,000? 100? Enough to finish nursing school debt-free and start fresh somewhere far from New York? You think I'm with Max for money? I think you're a smart girl who saw an opportunity. No judgment. I'd have done the same at your age. Catherine's voice softened slightly. But sweetheart, this fairy tale ends badly. For both of you, but especially for you. Max will survive scandal. His name protects him. You? Society will eat you alive and pick its teeth with your bones. Maybe I'm tougher than I look. Maybe. Catherine wrote a number, handed it over. $200,000. Take it. Disappear. Let my son marry the woman he's supposed to marry, run the companies he's supposed to run, live the life he was born for. Daisy looked at the check. More money than she'd earn in 5 years. Enough to change everything. She tore it in half. Tell your son, tell Max, that if he wants me gone, he can ask me himself. Otherwise, you can take your checkbook and... Clever girl. Catherine actually smiled. You just made this interesting. Daisy? Max appeared in the doorway. He saw his mother, saw the torn check, and his expression darkened. Mother, what did you do? What I always do, darling. Tried to protect you from yourself. Catherine picked up the check pieces. But it seems she's not taking bribes. How refreshing. Get out. Max, I mean it. Leave, now. Catherine studied her son, then Daisy, then back again. Something shifted in her expression. Surprise. Respect. Very well. But Maxwell, when this implodes, and it will, don't say I didn't warn you. She left in a whisper of silk and disapproval. Max pulled Daisy into his arms. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Your family really doesn't like me. My family doesn't like anything that disrupts their plans. He tilted her chin up. Daisy, we can still stop this. I can set you up somewhere safe, make sure you're protected. And never see you again? If that's what keeps you safe. Yes. She kissed him, fierce and quick. I'm not running. If you're jumping off this cliff, I'm jumping with you. You understand what that means? The press, the scrutiny, people trying to destroy you? I've been invisible my whole life, Max. Maybe it's time to be seen. She smiled, though her hands trembled. Besides, someone's got to make sure you stick the landing. He laughed, pulling her close. We're really doing this? We're really doing this. Above them, a bedroom light turned on, then another. The house was waking up. Soon the whole world would wake up too. Max Ashford was about to cancel the wedding of the century for a girl who caught champagne in his heart in the same night. Let them talk. The morning headlines were merciless. Ashford heirs love nest. Billionaire spends night at mystery woman's apartment before whisking her to family estate. Max stood in his grandmother's study at dawn, phone in hand, watching his entire world reshape itself in real time. The engagement announcement posts on social media had thousands of comments, most calling for his head, Daisy's head, or both. His mother hadn't spoken to him since last night. His father had called twice, each message progressively angrier. The board had scheduled an emergency meeting. And Vivian? Radio silence, which was somehow worse than her rage. You look like hell, Eleanor said, entering with coffee. Did you sleep at all? How can I sleep when I'm about to destroy multiple lives? Dramatic. You get that from your mother's side. She handed him a cup. The question isn't whether you're destroying lives. It's whether you're brave enough to rebuild them. Max looked toward the guest room where Daisy still slept, exhausted from yesterday's chaos. What if I can't protect her, Gran? What if bringing her into my world was the most selfish thing I've ever done? Probably was. Eleanor's honesty was sharp. But sending her away now would be crueler. You've already made her a target. The only way out is through. Through what? The fire, darling. You're about to burn down everything your family built. Might as well make sure something beautiful grows from the ash. At 8 a.m., Max made the call. We need to talk, in person. The plaza, 1 hour. Vivian's voice was ice. So you can humiliate me publicly? So I can be honest with you. You deserve that much. A pause. 1 hour. Don't be late. The Plaza Hotel. Private dining room. Vivienne sat perfectly poised, wearing white. A deliberate choice. The wounded bride. Every photographer outside had captured her entrance, tragic and beautiful. Max sat across from her, and for a moment, neither spoke. You're really doing this, she said finally. Viv, don't. She held up a hand. Don't apologize. Don't explain. Just answer one question. Do you love her? The directness caught him off guard. I don't know. It's been 2 days. That's not a no. It's also not, Max, I've known you for 27 years. I know when you're lying. She leaned forward. You're not in love with her yet. But you will be. I can see it. That terrifies you and thrills you simultaneously. How are you so calm? Because I'm furious. Her voice never rose. I'm so angry I could burn this city down. But I'm also relieved. That shocked him. Relieved? We would have been miserable, efficient, powerful, successful, but miserable. She twisted her engagement ring. I was prepared to live with that. Clearly you're not. You deserve someone who loves you completely. And you deserve your little charity case? The venom finally leaked through. Don't mistake this for blessing, Max. I'm letting you go because I won't be second choice. But that girl? She has no idea what she's walked into. I'll protect her. You can't. I'll make sure of it. Vivian slid the ring across the table. Consider this my wedding gift. I'm going to destroy her so thoroughly that you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if she was worth it. Max's jaw tightened. Viv, don't. I'm a Blackwell. We don't lose gracefully. She stood, smoothing her dress. Tell me, when she realizes that being with you means giving up her anonymity, her freedom, her chance at a normal life, how long before she runs? A month? A week? She's stronger than you think. Then she's a fool. Vivienne leaned down, her perfume overwhelming. You're not saving her, Max. You're drowning her. And when she finally goes under, don't come crying to me. She left like a ghost, floating through the restaurant while every diner watched. By the time she reached the exit, tears were streaming down her perfect face. On cue for the cameras. Max's phone buzzed, a text from his publicist. Vivienne just gave a tearful statement outside. She's playing the heartbroken victim perfectly. You're officially the villain. Brace yourself. Ashford Estate. Noon. Daisy woke to her phone vibrating non-stop. Hundreds of notifications. Thousands. Her Instagram was now filled with death threats and marriage proposals in equal measure. She scrolled through comments, each one a small knife. Gold-digging trash. He'll get bored of you in a month. You're not even that pretty. I hope you choke. Sophie, her roommate, had texted. Daisy, there are reporters outside our building. They're offering neighbors money for stories about you. What the hell is happening? Her nursing school advisor. We need to discuss your enrollment status, given recent publicity. Her mother's husband. Don't come back here, we don't want your mess. She was reading that last one when Max entered. Hey, he said softly. You're up. She showed him the screen. Your ex-fiancé works fast. He sat beside her, looking gutted. Daisy, I am so... If you apologize one more time, I'll scream. She set down the phone. Did you do it? Officially? It's done. Engagement's off. My family's furious. The board's threatening mutiny. Vivian's playing victim to every camera in New York. He took her hand. And I'd do it again. Why? The question burst out. Max, you've known me for 2 days. 2 days. And you're blowing up your entire existence. What if you wake up tomorrow and realize this was insanity? Then it was the best insanity I've ever experienced. That's not good enough. She stood, pacing. I can't go back to my apartment. I probably can't go back to school. My name is being dragged through the mud by people who've never met me. And for what? For some fairy tale that might not even last the month? Is that what you think this is? A fairy tale? I don't know what this is. She turned to him, eyes bright with unshed tears. Max, I like you. God help me, I more than like you. But I'm terrified that Vivian's right, that you're not saving me, you're drowning me. Max crossed to her, hands framing her face. Then let me teach you to swim. What if I can't? Then we sink together. He kissed her forehead. Daisy, I'm not asking you to have all the answers. I don't have them either. All I know is that before you, I was a ghost in an expensive suit. You made me real. And yes, it's fast and crazy and probably stupid, but you're choosing it anyway. I'm choosing you anyway. He wiped a tear from her cheek. But you have to choose too. Really choose. Because Vivian's right about one thing, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Daisy thought about her father's quarter, about always having another side, about taking leaps even when you couldn't see the landing. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. Promise me something? Anything. If this doesn't work, if I can't handle this world or you realize I'm not worth the chaos, promise you'll tell me. Don't let me drown slowly. I promise. He pulled her close. Now promise me something. What? That you'll fight. Not just for us, but for yourself. Because you belong in this world just as much as anyone born into it. Before she could answer, Eleanor appeared in the doorway. Sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation. She held up her phone. Vivienne just announced she's giving an exclusive interview. Tonight, prime time. The woman scorned. Vivienne Blackwell tells all. Max's expression darkened. She's going scorched earth. Indeed. Which means we need a strategy. Eleanor looked at Daisy. Dear, how do you feel about fighting fire with fire? What do you mean? Vivienne's playing victim. We need to remind people that there's another side to this story. Eleanor smiled, dangerous and delighted. Your side. What do you say? Ready to step into the spotlight? Daisy looked at Max, then at her phone filled with hate, then back at Eleanor. She'd spent her whole life invisible, safe in the shadows. But shadows couldn't fight fire. Tell me what to do. Eleanor's plan was simple. Fight back. Vivienne's interview airs at 8 p.m. We'll release your story at 7:30. A video direct to social media. No filters, no PR spin. Just you being honest. Eleanor paced the study like a general planning battle. The audience loves an underdog. Give them one. I'm not an underdog, Daisy protested. I'm just a person who happened to catch champagne. Exactly. That's your power. You're real. Vivienne's manufactured perfection. People are tired of perfect. Max looked uncertain. Gran, this could backfire. They might tear her apart. They're already tearing her apart. At least this way she controls the narrative. Daisy sat quietly, processing. What would I even say? The truth. Eleanor knelt beside her chair. Tell them who you are, why you're here, how you feel, and remind them that Max is a person, not a dynasty, and he deserves to choose his own happiness. That sounds like a campaign speech. Because it is. You're running for your life, dear. Might as well run hard. At 6 p.m. they set up a camera in Eleanor's garden. Natural light. No makeup beyond what Daisy normally wore. She sat in jeans and a simple sweater, looking terrifyingly normal. Just talk to me, Max said from behind the camera. Forget everyone else. It's just us. She took a breath, nodded. He pressed record. My name is Daisy McKenna. I'm 24 years old. I'm a nursing student from Queens. And yes, I'm the woman in the photos with Max Ashford. She paused, gathering courage. I didn't plan any of this. I was working a party, doing my job, when I literally caught falling champagne. That's it. No scheme, no gold-digging master plan, just wrong place, right time, or maybe right place, depending on how you look at it. Her voice steadied. People are saying I'm breaking up a perfect couple, but here's the thing. Perfect isn't the same as right. I don't know Max's whole history with Vivienne. That's not my story to tell. What I do know is that sometimes two people can look perfect together on paper and be completely wrong in reality. She looked directly at the camera. I'm not asking anyone to feel sorry for me. I made choices. Max made choices. We're both dealing with consequences. But I am asking for something. Remember that we're human, not headlines, not hashtags. Just two people trying to figure out if what we feel is real. Her eyes found Max behind the camera. And for what it's worth, it feels real to me. Terrifyingly, beautifully real. She reached forward, turned off the camera herself. Silence. Then Max was pulling her into his arms, holding her like she might disappear. That was perfect. That was terrifying. Same thing. Eleanor reviewed the footage. This is good, raw, authentic. Posted at 7:30 sharp. 7:15 p.m. Daisy's video went live 15 minutes early. Eleanor's tactical decision to steal Vivienne's thunder. Within minutes, it was everywhere. Shares, comments, reactions pouring in like a flood. Okay, I didn't want to like her, but she seems genuine. Still a homewrecker, but at least she owns it. Team Daisy, fight for your man, girl. Vivienne is shaking right now. At 7:45, Vivienne's PR team scrambled. The interview was supposed to be exclusive, devastating, the final word. Now Daisy had spoken first. At 8 p.m. Vivian appeared on screen, blonde, tragic, perfectly lit. The interviewer leaned in sympathetically. "Vivian, thank you for being so brave. I want to address the video that was posted earlier." Vivian's voice was measured, deadly. Daisy McKenna seemed sweet, genuine. I'm sure she believes everything she said. But here's what she doesn't understand. Max Ashford doesn't know how to be just Max. He's been groomed since birth to run an empire. That's not criticism. It's fact. She leaned forward. I loved Max. Still do. But I also knew what I was signing up for. The pressure, the scrutiny, the sacrifice of privacy. Does Daisy? Does she understand that dating Max means losing herself? The interviewer nodded. You think she's unprepared? I think she's about to discover that fairy tales have a cost. And when reality hits, when she realizes she can't finish nursing school without cameras following her, can't have coffee with friends without it becoming news, can't have a life that's hers anymore, she'll run. They always do. Vivian's smile was sad, knowing. I give them 3 months, and when she leaves, Max will come back to his real world, and I'll be waiting. Because some of us are built for this life, and some of us are just visiting. The interview continued, but the damage was done. Daisy watched from Eleanor's study, feeling sick, because Vivian wasn't entirely wrong. 10 p.m. The internet exploded into tribal warfare. Team Daisy versus DDoS Team Vivian. Think pieces about class, love, destiny. Everyone had opinions. Max found Daisy on the garden bench, staring at nothing. Don't let her get in your head. What if she's right? Daisy's voice was small. Max, she knows you. Really knows you. And she's saying you'll never fully escape who you're supposed to be. She knows who I was, not who I'm becoming. But what if who you're becoming is just temporary? A rebellion that runs its course? She turned to him. What if in 3 months you wake up and realize I was just an escape fantasy? Is that what you think? I think. She struggled for words. I think you're used to having everything, and I'm something you've never had before. New, different. But different gets familiar. New gets old. Max sat beside her. You want to know what I think? Tell me. I think you're terrified. I think Vivian planted seeds of doubt because that's what she does. She's strategic and ruthless. And I think you're looking for an exit because staying is scary as hell. He took her hand. But here's what I know. I've had everything, Daisy. Money, power, women who looked perfect on paper. And I've never felt the way I feel with you. Which is what? Awake. Alive. Like my life is finally mine instead of a script someone else wrote. He squeezed her hand. You're not an escape fantasy. You're the reality I didn't know I was allowed to want. She leaned against him. Your family hates me. Society thinks I'm trash. Vivian's waiting for us to fail. So? So maybe this is impossible. Probably. He kissed her temple. Do it anyway? Before she could answer, Eleanor rushed out, phone in hand. We have a problem. A big one. She showed them the screen. A tabloid had just posted an exposé. Photos of Daisy from high school, interviews with ex-boyfriends, fabricated stories about her being a party girl and opportunist. Someone had even dug up her mother's remarriage drama and spun it as evidence of Daisy's dysfunctional background. This is character assassination, Max growled. This is war, Eleanor corrected. Vivian's playing for keeps. Daisy read the articles, each one a knife twist. They'd contacted her nursing school, her former employers, neighbors who barely knew her. Every mistake, every vulnerability, weaponized. She stood. I need to leave. Daisy, not because of Vivian, because of you. She faced Max. As long as I'm here, this won't stop. They'll keep digging, keep destroying, keep finding new ways to hurt us both. Your company's stock dropped 3 points today because of me. Your family won't speak to you. Your entire life is imploding. I don't care. But I do. Her voice cracked. Max, I love you. God, I love you after 3 insane days. Which is crazy, but it's true. And because I love you, I can't watch you lose everything for someone you barely know. The words hung in the air. I love you. First time she'd said it, Max's eyes were bright. Say that again. I can't do this to you. Not that part. The first part. Max, say it again. I love you, she whispered. You idiot. I love you. He kissed her, desperate and deep. When they broke apart, his forehead pressed to hers. I love you too, which is why you're not leaving. But no. His voice was steel wrapped in velvet. I didn't burn down my life just to let you walk away at the first real fire. We're fighting this, together. How? He looked at his grandmother, something shifting in his expression. Determination. Purpose. We go nuclear. Eleanor raised an eyebrow. Meaning? Meaning tomorrow morning, I'm calling a press conference. No PR team, no corporate spin. Just me telling the truth about everything. The arranged engagement, the hollow life, why I chose Daisy. He pulled Daisy close. If they want a scandal, let's give them one worth talking about. That's professional suicide, Eleanor warned. Or it's freedom. Max smiled. Either way, we'll find out together. Daisy looked at this man, this beautiful, broken, brave man who'd somehow become her entire world in 72 hours. Heads or tails, Daisy girl? Okay, she said. Let's jump. The press conference was scheduled for 10 a.m. at Ashford Industries headquarters. Every major outlet attended. Cameras, reporters, the vultures circling for blood. Max stood at the podium in a simple navy suit, no tie. Daisy waited backstage, heart hammering. Eleanor squeezed her hand. Whatever happens next, you changed his life. Remember that. Max tapped the microphone. Silence fell. Thank you for coming. I have a statement and I won't be taking questions. He pulled out a paper, then crumpled it. Actually, forget the script. Here's the truth. My engagement to Vivian Blackwell was a business arrangement. Not officially, but that's what it was. 2 families, 2 fortunes merging. Perfect on paper. Soulless in reality. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. 3 days ago, I met Daisy McKenna. She was working at my engagement party, and she caught falling champagne like it was the most natural thing in the world. And when she looked at me, she didn't see Maximus Ashford III, heir to a dynasty. She saw a guy. Just a guy. His voice strengthened. I've spent 31 years being who everyone else needed me to be. The dutiful son, the strategic CEO, the appropriate fiancé, and I was dying inside. Slowly, quietly. In a penthouse that felt like a tomb. He looked directly at the cameras. Then Daisy happened, and for the first time in my life, I felt awake. So yes, I ended my engagement. Yes, I'm pursuing a relationship with someone the internet calls inappropriate. And yes, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. A reporter shouted, "What about your company, your shareholders? If my shareholders value my misery over my humanity, they can sell their stock." Max's smile was dangerous. I'm still the same businessman I was last week. Still capable, still strategic. I just refuse to sacrifice my soul for quarterly earnings anymore. Another voice. And when this relationship fails, when the fantasy ends, then I'll have lived honestly, even if briefly. That's more than I can say for the past decade. He paused. And for the record, I don't think it's going to fail, because Daisy McKenna is the bravest, realest person I've ever met. And I love her. Gasps. Camera flashes exploded. That's all. Thank you. He walked off stage into chaos, reporters shouting, phones ringing, his PR team in meltdown. But Max only had eyes for Daisy. How was that for nuclear? She kissed him in front of everyone. Perfect. 2 weeks later, The fallout was spectacular. Max's mother stopped speaking to him entirely. His father threatened to cut him off, until Eleanor reminded him she controlled the family trust and would fund Max personally if needed. 3 board members resigned, stock dipped, then stabilized when Max announced a new tech merger that would double profits. Vivian gave one final interview, dignified and cold, then disappeared to the Hamptons. Rumor had it she was dating a European prince. She'd land on her feet. Women like Vivian always did. The internet remained divided, but slowly, the tide shifted. Max's honesty resonated. His refusal to apologize for choosing love over duty became a movement. Live Honestly trended for days. Daisy returned to nursing school, with security now, which was weird but necessary. Some students whispered, others asked for selfies. She learned to navigate both with Eleanor's coaching. She moved into Max's penthouse, though she kept her own place for emergencies. They fought about silly things, how to load a dishwasher, whether pineapple belonged on pizza, his tendency to work until 2 a.m. Normal couple things, beautiful, ordinary conflicts. Max stepped back from some board responsibilities, delegated more, found balance. He started a foundation for working students, scholarship and job placement. Daisy helped design it. They learned each other slowly. His fear of failure, her fear of abandonment, the way he needed silence after hard days, the way she needed reassurance she wasn't a burden. It wasn't easy. Some days, Daisy still felt like an imposter in his world. Some days, Max worried he'd pulled her into a gilded cage. But they fought for it, through doubt, through scrutiny, through the growing pains of building something real from chaos. 6 months later, Eleanor's garden. "Close your eyes," Max said. "Why?" "Because I'm asking nicely. Close them." Daisy complied, smiling. She heard movement, whispered voices. "Eleanor? Sophie? Okay. Open." She did. The garden was transformed, lights everywhere. Her nursing school friends, Max's grandmother, even Rita from the cleaning company. People from both their worlds, mixed together. And in the center, Max on one knee. "Oh my God. Let me talk before you panic." He pulled out a ring, simple, elegant, with a single emerald. "Daisy, 6 months ago, you caught champagne and accidentally caught me too. You woke me up, made me brave, taught me that living honestly is better than living perfectly." His voice shook slightly. "I'm not asking you to marry me right now. I know we're still figuring things out, still learning. But I'm asking," he paused, "I'm asking if you'll keep figuring it out with me. If you'll accept this as a promise that wherever we go, whatever happens, I choose you. Every day, I choose you." Daisy knelt down, meeting him at eye level. "You know I'm still going to smell like disinfectant sometimes, right? I'm counting on it. And I'll probably never understand half of what happens at your board meetings. Thank God. Someone should stay sane. And your mother might actually never forgive me. Her loss." Daisy cupped his face. "Then yes. Yes to the promise. Yes to choosing each other. Yes to all of it." He slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly, because of course he'd somehow found her size. Everyone cheered. Sophie was crying. Eleanor was smiling like she'd orchestrated the whole thing, which she probably had. As they stood, Daisy whispered, "When did you know? Really know?" "The champagne moment." "Liar." "Fine. When you tore up my mother's check, you chose me over easy. That's when I knew you were either crazy or perfect. Why not both?" "Good point." He kissed her, soft and sweet. "Thank you." "For what?" "For teaching me that sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never planned for." He spun her gently. "For catching me when I was falling. Someone had to." She grinned. "I've always been good at preventing disasters. And causing beautiful chaos. That too." Above them, Stars appeared in the twilight sky. Around them, two worlds blended. Champagne and disinfectant, penthouses and queens, perfectly imperfect. Daisy reached into her pocket, pulled out her father's quarter. She flipped it high. Max caught it mid-air. Heads or tails? Does it matter anymore? He looked at the coin, then at her. No, I guess it doesn't. Because some choices weren't about luck or sides or careful calculation. Some choices were about jumping off cliffs and trusting you'd either fly or find someone to fall with. Daisy McKenna and Max Ashford chose to fly. 3 years later. Spring, Ashford McKenna Foundation Headquarters, Manhattan. The building wasn't the tallest in the skyline, but it was Daisy's favorite. Modest by Ashford standards, only 12 floors, with the ground level dedicated to a free medical clinic she'd helped design. The upper floors housed scholarship programs, job training, and resources for working students trying to build better lives. The bronze plaque by the entrance read, "For those who catch the falling and dare to fly." Daisy adjusted her nurse practitioner badge. She'd graduated top of her class 2 years ago, and headed to the third-floor conference room where Max was presenting the quarterly report to their board. Their board. She still marveled at that. Through the glass walls, she could see him in his element, commanding the room, but differently now, more relaxed, more genuine. He caught her eye and winked mid-presentation. Eleanor, now co-chair of the foundation, noticed and smiled. Still making eyes at each other like teenagers. "It's disgusting," said Sophie, Daisy's best friend and the foundation's community outreach director. "And adorable. Disgustingly adorable." After the meeting, Max found Daisy in her office, small but comfortable, decorated with photos from their travels. Thailand, Argentina. A road trip through the American South where they'd stayed in motels and eaten at diners, anonymous and free. "Ready for tonight?" he asked, loosening his tie. "As ready as I'll ever be." She grimaced. "Your mother's going to be there, right?" "Unfortunately, yes." That evening, the Plaza Hotel. The Ashford Annual Charity Gala had evolved. Once a stuffy affair of checkbooks and social climbing, it was now genuinely focused on the cause, raising money for educational initiatives and healthcare access. Daisy wore a dress she'd actually chosen herself. Emerald green, elegant but comfortable. Max wore his tux with the same casual confidence he now brought to everything. As they entered, cameras flashed, but the narrative had changed. They were no longer the scandal. They were the success story. The couple who'd fought for love and built something meaningful from the ashes. "Daisy! Max!" a reporter called out. "Any wedding plans yet?" "When we're ready," Daisy answered smoothly. She'd learned to navigate these moments. "We're in no rush. 3 years is a long engagement." 3 years is a good foundation," Max countered, his arm around Daisy's waist. "We're building something that lasts." Inside, the ballroom was magnificent. Daisy spotted familiar faces. Rita from the cleaning company, now retired and volunteering with the foundation. Several of her nursing school classmates, successful in their careers. Even some of Max's former board members who'd come around once they saw his business acumen hadn't diminished with his happiness. And there, by the bar, impeccably dressed and cool as ice, Vivienne Blackwell. Actually, Vivienne Rothschild now. She'd married a Swiss banker the previous year, a strategic match that apparently suited her perfectly. They nodded to each other across the room. Not friends, never friends. But the hatred had cooled to indifference. Catherine Ashford arrived fashionably late, her husband beside her. She'd thawed slightly over the years, attending major events, making polite conversation. She'd never apologized for trying to buy Daisy off, but she had donated significantly to the foundation. It was her version of acceptance. "Darling," she air-kissed Max's cheek. "The foundation's annual report was impressive." "Thank you, Mother." She turned to Daisy with a smile that almost reached her eyes. "That clinic on the ground floor, it served 3,000 patients last year?" 3,200, Daisy corrected gently. Remarkable. Catherine sipped her champagne. Perhaps I underestimated you. Perhaps you did. A moment passed. Then Catherine did something unprecedented. She extended her hand. Daisy shook it. It wasn't love. It wasn't even warmth. But it was progress. Eleanor appeared, resplendent in purple. Shall we? They're announcing the scholarship recipients. On stage, 10 students stood nervously, selected from hundreds of applicants. Working students like Daisy had been. Dreamers and fighters. Each would receive full tuition, living expenses, and job placement assistance. Daisy stepped to the microphone. This was her favorite part. 3 years ago, I was cleaning floors at an engagement party, trying to figure out how to pay next semester's tuition. I never imagined I'd end up here. She smiled at the students. But here's what I learned. You're not defined by where you start. You're defined by whether you keep moving forward, even when it's terrifying. She looked at Max. Someone once told me that the best things in life are the ones you never planned for. These scholarships, they're planned. But what you do with them, the lives you'll build, the people you'll become, that's the beautiful chaos we can't wait to see. Applause erupted. The students were crying. Daisy's eyes were bright. After the ceremony, she found Max on the balcony overlooking Central Park. Penny, for your thoughts? She asked. Just thinking about that night. The champagne, the stairs. You appearing like some kind of miracle I didn't know I needed. I was so scared. Me too. He pulled her close. Still am sometimes. Scared I'll wake up and this will all be a dream. Good thing you're awake then. He reached into his pocket, pulled out something small. Her father's quarter. He'd been carrying it for months now, she'd noticed. Flip it with me? He asked. Why? Because I want to ask you something, and I figure we should let fate decide. Daisy's heart skipped. Max, heads, we get married next month. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. Tails, we wait another year. He smiled. Either way, I'm yours. But I'm tired of calling you my fiancé. I want to call you my wife. She took the quarter, feeling its familiar weight. The one constant through every change, every chaos, every beautiful disaster. You know this is crazy, right? Letting a coin decide? We've done crazier. True. They'd built a life on crazy. On catching champagne and taking leaps and choosing love when logic said run. Daisy flipped the quarter high into the Manhattan night. It spun, catching light from 1,000 windows. Heads, tails, impossible to predict. Max caught it, slapped it onto his wrist, kept it covered. Before we look, he said softly. I love you. Heads or tails. Next month or next year, that doesn't change. I love you too. She kissed him. Now show me. He lifted his hand. Heads. They stared at it, then at each other, then burst out laughing. Next month? Daisy gasped between giggles. That's insane. You said fate decides. I didn't think it would actually be heads. So we're doing this? His eyes were bright, thrilled, terrified. She thought about it for approximately 3 seconds. About the girl she'd been, invisible, scared, playing it safe. About the woman she'd become, brave enough to catch chaos and turn it into something beautiful. We're doing this. You're sure? Max, I've been sure since you looked at me on those stairs like I was the most interesting thing in the room, she grinned. Besides, someone needs to make sure you don't trip walking down the aisle. I'll have you know I'm very coordinated. You tripped over your own feet at the foundation gala last month. That was one time. Twice. I counted. He kissed her to shut her up, and it worked beautifully. 1 month later, Eleanor's garden. They kept it small. 60 people. No press. Just the people who mattered. Rita cried through the whole ceremony. Sophie was maid of honor, making inappropriate jokes that had the guests laughing. Eleanor officiated, because of course she did. She'd orchestrated the whole thing anyway. Even Catherine smiled. Genuinely smiled. Daisy wore a simple dress, cream-colored, with her mother's earrings. A peace offering that had arrived unexpectedly the week before, with a note, "Be happy." Max wore a grey suit, no tie, looking like himself instead of a dynasty. When Eleanor asked if anyone objected, Vivian, who'd been invited out of strange courtesy, raised her champagne glass. "I object to the wine selection, but the marriage seems solid. Carry on." Everyone laughed. Even that wound had healed enough for humor. "Do you, Maximus Ashford, take Daisy McKenna?" "Just Max is fine," he interrupted. Eleanor sighed dramatically. "Do you, Max, take Daisy to be your wife?" "I do. I really, really do. And Daisy, do you take this reformed workaholic, occasional disaster, surprisingly decent human as your husband?" "I do. Someone has to keep him out of trouble. Then by the power vested in me by common sense and excellent judgment, I pronounce you married. Kiss already." They did. And as their friends cheered and champagne flowed and the sun set over Eleanor's garden, Daisy McKenna, now Daisy Ashford, though she'd keep McKenna professionally, felt the weight of her father's quarter in her pocket. There's always another side, Daisy girl. She'd flipped the coin and found both sides were good. Both sides were home. Max whispered in her ear, "No regrets." She looked around, at Sophie dancing with a scholarship recipient, at Eleanor arguing cheerfully with Catherine about foundation politics, at Rita taking photos like a proud mother, at this beautiful, chaotic, perfectly imperfect family they'd built. Not even one. Good. He spun her into a dance. "Because you're stuck with me now. Forever? At minimum. I'm thinking we might go longer. Ambitious. You make me ambitious, among other things." "Other things?" "Happy, brave, human." He dipped her dramatically. Hopelessly, completely, permanently in love. She kissed him there, bent back in his arms, in front of everyone. Because some loves were quiet and careful, and some loves were champagne-catching, cliff-jumping, fate-tempting madness. Theirs was the second kind, and it was absolutely perfect. The end.